Guys, it's Vanessa. I'm here to do another one of my brush overviews. This one should be a little bit shorter since I don't have as many, but today I'm going to talk about basically flat top blending brushes, kind of like this one that I have right here. So you can see that they're very flat on the top, but they're very full. So these brushes are really good for powder foundations, for bronzer, and they're also really good for liquid foundations, depending what the bristles are made out of. So I'm going to get started, and I'll just kind of talk about them in no order, really. I'll just start with this one because it's in my hands. So this is from Delium Tools. It's the 957, and it is from the Maestro line, hence the black. This brush is, I believe, all synthetic. I'll annotate that if that's not correct, but I believe this is an all synthetic brush. I use this brush mainly for powder foundation. I really love how this works with powder foundation. And I also love using any of these brushes, but basically like flat top blending brushes for precision bronzer. And I'll do a demonstration just because I know that's a little difficult to explain. So I just have a bronzer here. This is a Milani bronzer. So what I do is I take this brush and I run it along the edge like so that the edge has a lot of bronzer on it. And then I'll just go into my cheek and kind of create this 80s look. And then I'll take the whole top of it and then just sort of blend it out. And I can't see what I'm doing, so hopefully I don't look crazy. I'm trying to see if I have a mirror. I don't have a mirror anywhere. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Okay. So you just want to blend out that harsh line, and then obviously if I had not done it over my blush, then my blush would go over it just to blend the top out even more. So I'll just even myself up here. So again, super 80s line, and then we're going to blend that out. You could go down, up, however you want. So this one in particular works really well for that, and I love this Delium Tools brush. I recommend all the Delium Tools brushes, but this is one that I really recommend. I love it. It's super soft, and it's like a medium fullness. It's not too big, and it's not too small either compared to some of the ones in my collection that kind of sits in the middle. So I really like this brush for that. The next one is the e.l.f. powder brush, and it looks like this. And this one is very famous on YouTube. Everybody was going crazy buying it. This is from their studio line, so they're slightly more expensive, only $3. And this one is completely synthetic as well. Now this one is a little bit bigger if you kind of see them side to side. This one is a little larger, the head, than this one. So I really like this one for liquid foundation. It works really great just to kind of give that airbrush look, because if you do it in circular motions, it kind of gives you that smooth airbrush look. Works really great with powder foundations as well, which is what I think it's originally designed for. And I really like it with powder foundation. I just kind of, you know, buff it in really well. But like in places where like I'm covering up a zit, for example, I'll like just use the flatness of it to almost like a powder puff. I'll just really press it in. Also in the forehead, just really press in that powder to control shine. And with like the smaller ones, and even with this one, when I'm setting my concealer, I can just kind of get up there and pat it into that area. But this one specifically, I think because it's a little bit larger than this one, works really well with liquid foundations. So I like it for that. The next one I have is from MAC, and it's their blush and bronzer brush, and it's again flat, and this one is kind of denser. I think this one is a natural hair bristles. So this one is denser than these two. These kind of have a little more fluidity, and this one stays pretty rigid. It's not the softest brush, but over time it does get much softer. I use this one mostly for bronzer, and that's about it. Sometimes I'll use it for like very light pigmented blushes. I'll kind of press it in and then blend it out, but that's only blushes that are very light in pigment. Otherwise, it'll pick up a lot of product. But I do use it mostly for bronzer, quick bronzer. I rarely reach for it, but it's not that bad of a deal. I forgot how much the MAC brushes are. I want to say this was like $8. The next one I have is a Vincent Longo, and I think it has a number, but I'm not sure. But basically it just looks like this. Very large head, and I think this one is, it feels synthetic, but it could be natural. And this one is about exactly the same size as the e.l.f. one. So this one I still use mostly for powder, only because I don't know, I like this one better than this one for liquid foundation. And I think it might be because the hairs on the e.l.f. one are a little bit longer, so you get more like movement than you do with this one. Kind of stays pretty rigid. But this one works really, really, really good with powder to just kind of really, like I said, buff it in. Also that same technique of like pressing the powder into your face. I also like this one because it's a short handled brush, and when don't have my glasses on, I have to get really close to the mirror, and short handle allows that more than a long handled brush. So I really like that. And yeah, I like this brush. I've never had any problems with shedding or anything like that. Vincent Longo is a little pricey, but they're always on Hautelook. That is where I got mine. If you want to join Hautelook, I'll put a personal link below. And you know the drill with that. If you use my link to sign up to Hautelook and you ever purchase anything, your first purchase, I get 10 bucks. So if you're not down with that, you could just go to hautelook.com directly and sign up yourself. So the next one is the IB122 mini, I think it says mini bronzer or buffing. I don't know. My little tag is covering it. But this is the Badger brush from Crown. And this was the first one of these types of brushes I got. And I got it at the Artist Summit a few years ago in Chicago. Now this brush, actually I don't use it as much anymore because the whole like kind of ferrule separated from here, and I tried to crazy glue it, and some of the glue seeped into the base of these bristles. Like the top is totally fine, but here it's just really stiff and rigid. Otherwise, this is a really, really soft brush. And even though it is natural hair, I've used it for liquid foundation and it works really well. I love it for bronzer. It just, especially because it's short and you have more control, it's really good to just kind of do bronzer all over the face, E's, 3's, W's across. Also really good if you have a boyfriend who's into shaving. This is a cheaper alternative to like a shaving brush. This is gonna, you know, cost you way less and do the same job. You could get a really good lather and then use it up and then shave with it. So it's also, you can also use this for blush if you have a light hand. And then again on the edge, like I was telling you with the bronzer. So I use it mainly for bronzer, and I think it's a good buy. They're really cheap, super soft. And this is obviously a natural hair bristles. So the last one that I have that kind of fits in this veining is from the Costco brush sets. And unfortunately, I don't think you can get these anymore, but I figured I'd throw it in just in case someone watching has this and they were thinking of maybe getting any one of these or something like that. So this one is, I think, the smallest head out of all of them I have, and it's definitely much more compact. And it looks like a duo fiber brush, but that's just in appearance. It's just dyed that way. It's all one fiber, and it's completely synthetic. And I use this one for liquid foundation a lot. When it's small, because it's smaller, I use it for precision application of it versus this one. Even though you do get a flawless finish, this is much more like, I'm in a rush, go, go, go. I could get my whole face done. And this one is more like I'm really taking the time, you know, for all imperfections. I also, for a while, was using it for concealer. I would just dab in the concealer like so under my eyes. I don't really use this one for contour because powder contour, because it is so small, it leaves a little too much product and then you have to spend a lot more time buffing it out. But I do like it for cream product application when you want to do a very precise contour, because for some reason I feel like it picks up like a better amount of cream than powder product, like if I'm going to do a contour with that. I've also used this for cream blush. Like I'll just dab it, and then kind of blend it out, or I'll use like a larger one to kind of help blend it out. So overall, of all of these, I think my favorite, it would be a tie between these two. Like currently I'm completely ignoring this e.l.f. one, but at any given moment, it's like one of my favorite brushes. And the Delium Tools one, I really, really, really love. And I use this all the time. But yeah, that's my overview of my flat top brushes. So let me know your favorite flat top sort of buffer powder brush down below. And that's about it. Thanks guys. Talk to you later. Bye.